Hello and welcome to Python RPA, an exciting product to easily automate all of your business tasks. Whether it's desktop, office, or web applications, you can use Python RPA with confidence. To start with, let's take a look how the platform works with desktop applications on your computer. First, we have to read data from the Excel file. We find the Excel section in the Actions panel and select the Read Data activity and connect it with a start point. This connection shows which activity has to be executed first. Let's select the file path. Click on the Browse button. Open the File Explorer and select the file. Since the file contains headers which we do not need, we specify the cell which we start reading from as A2. Once we have read the Excel file, we have to launch the free address book application. We use Run Application Activity Card in the Application section. We can add the activity card by dragging it, or we can press the right mouse button in the workspace, enter the card's name, and select it. We further on connect it with a preceding card. Now, the top right connection node on the card connects the activity with the following card. The bottom one to the error handling routine. We will review error handling routine in the following lessons. Further on, we have to select the application we need to work with the Run Application card. We can select it through the Browse button, or we can press the double arrow link in the File Path field. If we press it, a window opens to the right side with an expanded screen to enter text. We can also save the parameters to a variable or to the configs field. Well, for every line of data in our file, we have to execute a process of entering that data into the app. For that purpose, we use the loops section. In this case, we use the for each activity. The for each activity allows to cycle through the data set which we have received. Now we need to reference the table which we have received when reading the Excel file. For that purpose, we click the ID number in the Read Data Excel activity, and it automatically gets copied to the loop activity. As you can see, this is the activity card ID number. It automatically gets wrapped into curly brackets so that the studio understands that this is the reference to the result of the card activity execution. We therefore have passed the array which we received while running the Read Data card. Let's create a variable for iteration through data. We enter raw and then raw index in the following field. Now we can move the card. Now let's see what we have to do with each line of data in the table. We have to press the New button in the application, fill in the data fields, and then press Save and Close, and then repeat. We first start with pressing the New button in the app. We use the Desktop Actions section to work with the desktop applications. We drag the desktop click card to the workspace. Connect it to the previous card. Now we have to get the so-called selector. The selector is the address of the element which the robot has to press. We click the Browse on the card. A special extension gets launched. When we point the mouse to an element, it gets highlighted. The extension understands that it can interact with the element. We point the mouse to the New button, wait until it gets highlighted, press the Control button, and then press the left mouse button. We have received the selector. It is the address of the element data. We can edit it in the screen. For example, there's an entry, title, send your testimonial, click here. That part changes, and if it is not present, the bot will not understand that this is the same element. Therefore, we can shut off this parameter by unchecking it throughout the selector. We click the Submit button, and the selector was transferred to the activity. Now the robot understands which button to click. Every card has different parameters. In this case, click options, for example, We use left click in this case. Thus, the robot will press the new button. Further on, we have to wait until the new screen appears, the new element. We use wait for selected to appear activity. Connect the activity card and press the browse button. Now we get the selector and it is ready now. We set the wait time for 30 seconds. That means the bot will wait for the element to appear for 30 seconds. As soon as it appears, the bot will continue. The next step will be to enter data into the desired field. We can use desktop set text activity. Since in the previous card we waited for the needed element, we can press the inherit button. This activity will then enter data into the field specified previously. We enter the value we need to enter into the app. In our case, it is the raw of the Excel file. We use the variable called raw, surrounded by curly brackets, and then specify that we have to enter its 0 element. In other words, the first column of the table. We will further enter the first name and the last name into the app. We can copy the card by highlighting it and using copy paste and then connecting it. In this case, we have to unselect the inheritance since we're working with a different element. We click the browse button, press Ctrl left click and get the element address. We then enter the variable value, which is raw1, to get the first name. Now, let's see how else we can enter text. Sometimes the set text activity does not work because software may be written not in compliance with Windows specifications. In that case, we can enter text with the enter text activity. Let's first click in the desired field and then add enter text activity and add the text we want. Enter text emulates text entry the same way a human would do that. We set the text value as raw2. So far, we have entered data into the fields. Let's now press Save and Close and see what we have gotten. We add the desktop click activity card. Well, let's move the activities a bit. Connect the cards, click the Browse button, point the mouse to Save and Close, and it's ready. Let's see how the bot will execute. We close the application, start the bot, well, we get an error. The bot did not wait enough for the application to appear and stopped. We can see the error text at the bottom of the screen. For example, bot could not find element by selector, and it will show which card generated the error. So the bot did not wait long enough for the application to appear and generated an error. Therefore, prior to pressing any buttons, we have to wait for the button to appear. So we first disconnect the card and add wait for selected to appear activity card. We then find the element we want to wait for. Now the bot will first wait for the element and then we'll start processing the interface. We set 30 seconds wait time and connect the card. Well, let's try it again. As you can see, the bot worked just fine. Now, let's add a few more entries to our file and see how our process works. Save the file, close it, and start the bot again. Well, let's close the app. Here it starts. Data is being entered. Excellent, it all worked. Let's move on with the project. So far we have worked with a desktop application and an Office application. Well, let's take the next step and see how to work with an internet browser. We further on copy the site address and insert it into the URL field. We will use WebClick for our next action. If you recall, we use selectors to identify desktop elements. We use Selenium XPath in web applications. We will review using XPath in the following lessons, or it may be done on Selenium website. We click the Browse button, and the platform starts to highlight elements in the browser. In order for this to work, you need to install Python RPA extension. The installation and the file itself will be reviewed in a separate lesson. We click on the search field. The XPath was copied. Next, we find the Enter Text card. Connect the cards, and let's make the search RPA. Instead of clicking the magnifying glass in the search field, we will add the Enter keystrokes. We will select Enter keystrokes for that purpose. Specify the key we will use. It will be Enter in this case. We can enter other keystrokes into that field like Control or Alt. And let's see what happens. The site was launched, RPA text was entered, Enter key was pressed, and here's our browser and the page we needed. Now let's take the next step. We can get text from the website. Let's read text from the open search page. We will use Get Text Activity Card for that. Let's look at the search page. Let's say we need to get the first entry from the search page. We pull the card, connect it, and click the Browse button. We get the XPath. And let's give it a try. As we can see in the logs, the text was read.